The legacy of the lightsaber has been carried throughout the Star Wars mythos for generations, and with each passing era, the art of saber craftsmanship becomes more and more advanced, with each Jedi constructing their own unique lightsaber to fit their unique interests. The expansion of diverse hilt styles to blade colors has become commonplace with each passing generation of Star Wars media. In the original trilogy, for example, we were first introduced to the standard blue and red dichotomy in the first two films of the Skywalker saga, before the green lightsaber made its debut in Return of the Jedi, which has long since become a staple of the franchise, and Luke Skywalker himself. The prequel era was arguably the most rapid expansion of the different saber types and styles. We were introduced to Maul's iconic dual-bladed lightsaber, Count Dooku's curved hilt, and even Mace Windu's purple blade, which made its debut in Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. But within the vast lore of the Star Wars universe, this is only just the beginning. Ever since, different blade styles and colors have been slowly but surely rising to prominence, from Mace Windu's iconic amethyst blade to the growth and abundance of yellow and orange sabers. But perhaps one of the most unique sabers to this day is the Mandalorian Darksaber. And the Darksaber will be the focus of today's video, and why in fact it may be the most powerful lightsaber in all of canon. This one-of-a-kind saber was constructed by the Mandalorian known as Tar Vizsla, the first and only Mandalorian to ever be inducted into the Jedi Order, and his saber would be passed down through the generations as a symbol of status, power, and leadership amongst the Mandalorian creed. While the blade is unique in a number of different ways, is it possible that there might actually be evidence to support the idea it's more powerful than a standard lightsaber blade? Well, stick with us today, weary travelers of the galaxy, and let's delve into some of the most notable differences between the Darksaber and the everyday Jedi and Sith sabers, as well as discuss evidence that suggests that it might actually be stronger than either of the aforementioned blade types. The first few differences seem to be purely cosmetic, as the Darksaber quite interestingly takes on a distinct blade shape, whereas most sabers are more cylindrical and pointed at the end. On top of this, it is significantly shorter than the average blade, and perhaps the most notable difference is the distinct inky black color that casts an eerie white glow across the immediate environment. This is because, like all Jedi, Tar Vizsla had to venture into the mines of either Ilum or another kyber crystal-rich planet with the Jedi's control in order to collect his own kyber crystal for his own unique lightsaber. What's important to note here is that the distinct coloration of a Jedi's kyber crystal, and therefore their saber, is not something that can be decided or chosen by the Jedi in question, and is a result of the user imbuing their own force energy into the crystal and creating an unbreakable bond with it. The color manifests as a direct result of a user's connection with the Force and the bond that they build with their own respective crystals. Most often than not, this signifies a blue blade of a Jedi Guardian and Peacekeeper, or that of a green blade, which is more akin to a Jedi Consular. Consulars who prefer diplomacy and negotiation as a primary means of garnering peace, only drawing their sabers when absolutely necessary. Perhaps the only arguable exception to this rule as of now in canon is when a Sith Lord exerts their anger and pain onto a crystal in order to make it bleed, in which case the blade would melt into an iconic crimson coloration that has become so synonymous with the Sith Order across the history of Star Wars. The Darksaber, though, is no exception, and this crystal was born from Tar Vizsla's unique connection with the Force and the strange relationship that he built with his own personal kyber crystal. And though over 1,000 years have passed between the legacy of Tar Vizsla and the modern Star Wars saga, nobody has ever been able to replicate this amazing feat, nor has anyone done so before the rise to prominence. But despite the unique coloration and style of the blade, does it actually prove to be stronger than an average lightsaber blade? According to the Mandalorian Disney Plus series, this just might be the case. Throughout the course of the Mandalorian series, we are given an in-depth look at the workings of the metal known as Beskar, and the armor and tools that are created from it. Din Djarin uses primarily Beskar-plated armor as well as utilizes ingots of metal as a form of currency throughout the course of the 2 seasons, showing its value and its tradability across his adventures throughout the galaxy. We come to find out that Beskar is one of the most durable metals in the known Star Wars galaxy, and is capable of resisting even the blades of lightsabers, and we see this multiple occasions throughout the Mandalorian show. Din Djarin, as well as the Magistrate, use Beskar-based weapons in order to combat Ahsoka Tano at separate points in the second season of the show, and this metal seems to be capable of parrying lightsaber strikes, blocking blows, and generally allowing wielders of the metal to go head-to-head with various different lightsaber wielders, making the metal extremely valuable in this regard, and why in the ancient days it was used specifically to combat Jedi and Force wielders, as it gave those that did not have the ability to touch the Force a chance against a Jedi. We know that Ahsoka's white blades are not to be trifled with, as she was able to slash open Darth Vader's Durasteel helmet using the iconic blades in the closing moments of the second season of Rebels. At various points, we even see Beskar clash with a saber and hold its own under the weight of locked blades that remain pressed together for several seconds on end. In the finale, however, upon combating Moff Gideon in order to rescue Grogu, we see that the Mandalorian once again uses his Beskar-plated armor, as well as his newly acquired Beskar spear to battle Gideon into submission. What's interesting here, however, is that during one of the aforementioned blade locks, we see that the Beskar steel seems to glow red hot. This was not seen during any time spent with Ahsoka Tano, despite her pressing her white blades to the metal for prolonged periods of time, just like Moff Gideon does. Only when confronted by the Darksaber, the metal threatens to melt and warp. Does this mean that if the Darksaber is able to get Beskar near the point of melting under the same conditions that a regular lightsaber cannot, does this mean that the Darksaber is inherently hotter and more powerful than an average lightsaber? Though this ability isn't widely showcased in any significant fashion as of yet, the implication that the Darksaber might have capabilities that other sabers do not is not only a fascinating idea, but a ripe well of entertaining content to explore in the coming years of the Star Wars franchise. We speculate here on the channel that because the blade of the Darksaber is much shorter, it is also more concentrated, and more energy is flowing through the Kyber crystal focused through it, turning the Force itself into a sharp edge. As aforementioned earlier in the video, the Darksaber is one of the only lightsabers that has the power to draw energy and even light itself from its surrounding area. We have even seen before in Star Wars Legends, as well as Star Wars The Clone Wars, that the blade will seem to crackle with electricity when the user has heightened emotions, with this also being a trait that we have not seen before in the Star Wars mythos. It's clear that there's something very special about the Darksaber, as well as its origins, with some speculating the origin of the Darksaber may actually be nefarious. As a side note, in Legends continuity, this appeared to be the track that they were going to take the origin of the Darksaber, before Disney actually purchased Lucasfilm, but now since the Darksaber has made a re-emergence in The Mandalorian, and its significance has been revamped, it does not appear as if Lucasfilm and the storytelling group over there are going to head in this direction, making it more of an ancestral iconic Mandalorian blade than a weapon to turn Jedi and other Force wielders to the dark side. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of the prospects of the Darksaber being more powerful than a normal lightsaber blade? Do you agree with this theory? And what do you think the future ramifications of this may be for Din Djarin, the now rightful owner and ruler of the Darksaber? As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching the channel. May the Force be with you, and I hope to see you in the next video.